Good morning, everyone. Thank you. Just want to firstly acknowledge thanks, Pat, and obviously thank you, Ken, not just for today, but for everything for the last week. It's been awesome. Awesome to meet a lot of you in person. Sorry, well, that's all right. Okay, so just to kind of give everybody, I appreciate the introduction, but I think because ecosystem / PD is kind of like a new term for Rocket Pool, I also want to apologize for my throat. It's been a long week of talking and also drinking beer last night. But yeah, so it's a relatively new position to Rocket Pool. It's something that a lot of people don't really know about. As I've talked to people this week asking, well, what is it that you do? So I'll just kind of take through a little bit of what I do and what I don't do as well, because I think that's important. Sorry. That's the wrong slide, sorry. All right, cool. Obviously, most people know what Rocket Pool is. We don't have to spend much time on this slide, but just kind of an update. We talk about, obviously, there's two sides of Rocket Pool. There's liquid staking and there's node operators. From an ecosystem perspective, do I need this now? Just keep talking. Okay. So from an ecosystem perspective, the reason why I kind of want to draw attention to this is because we are obviously constrained at the node operator side. Liquid staking, there's a lot of demand for it. People are depositing their ETH with us every day. It's much, much harder to become a node operator. That kind of flows in with the ecosystem because as we develop partnerships with other protocols, larger scale clients and things like that, it becomes important. So I'll get to that in a sec. I also want to acknowledge about as the protocols matured, the Incentives Management Committee, which does a lot of the heavy lifting for the protocol. They're responsible for incentivizing liquidity on other chains, strategies, things that we as a protocol sometimes shouldn't or can't get involved in for regulatory purposes. Those are things that we have to be very careful about. I don't know if everybody's aware of that, but because we're based in Australia, we have to abide by Australian laws, tax laws, consumer laws. It's not necessarily a mature state right now with regard to crypto. We have to avoid at all costs being regulated as an exchange or a money market, anything like that. We're a technology company. We're a software company. So things like incentives management, it's really important that everybody realizes that like those are things that we really don't get involved in. And obviously there's a group of people, group of awesome volunteers that are doing a lot of that work, which is great. Also just touch on grants management as well. That's a little bit easier for us because a lot of that is just supporting people that build on top of the protocol. As Massimo just kind of illustrated, there is, for example, there is a open bounty that's been posted to do the work to integrate SSB with Rocket Pool, which is really cool. Really cool, as he articulated a lot better than I could. It's something that Schifrin, I don't know if he's here or not, but as he and I talked over the course of the previous week, it's something that we want to work a little bit more closely with, so that we can kind of take some of these ideas and help streamline them, help deliver them to the Grants Management Committee to help get some of those things done quicker and more efficiently, rather than someone coming into the Discord, posting, and sometimes getting acknowledged, sometimes it doesn't resonate. So what I can do to help with some of those things is talk to some of those protocols and then kind of steer them in the right direction, whether it's with us as technical integration or with grants management or incentives management. At the very least, I can help point them in the right direction. So as most of you are aware, I get a lot of pings in the Discord as people come in, some of which are real human beings with their ideas about integrating. Some probably aren't, or they're AI generated or whatever, but I appreciate everybody kind of steering them in my direction. I can then kind of take it a little bit further. And then every once in a while, something fruitful comes from it. Most of the time not, but we owe it to people that approach us to do our due diligence. So just please keep that up. It's really good. Just touch on kind of this state of the ecosystem right now. Like, as most people are aware, rETH is available in most of the big DeFi integrations, whether it's wallets, money markets, you name it. rETH is becoming a really popular underlying asset to buoy those systems. There's some more examples. We have wallet integrations. We've got pretty much any wallet you can think of can integrate directly with the protocol. We also have some really kind of more exciting things that have kind of come on board recently, where users can stake natively through Ledger, Ledger Live, MetaMask, and also Coinbase, depending on your jurisdiction. It delivers an ease of use to the user that I'm really excited about as somebody who is relatively new to crypto, and explaining to my mostly non-crypto friends and family that this is actually easier than you think. So, which can sometimes, I also want to kind of describe where we're a little bit limited. Things like the deposit pool being full. We'll get to this later and when we talk about the Houston upgrade a little bit, but it can make it difficult to integrate with partners or other protocols, because, so say you're a wallet and you want to stake your ETH and turn it into rETH. You're building they're building a layer of technology or an app that is doing a little bit more work. Going from there, in theory, mint some rETH for them and send it back. What happens, though, more often than not, it's doing that kind of complicated routing. It's getting to our interface, and then it's getting rETH off of a DEX and then sending it back to them, which all that really does is adds complexity and fees to that experience. And so it's something I'll get to in a little bit later, that I think, critical that we address that, that hopefully Houston does a good job of that, and if not, Saturn. I also just want to acknowledge that as in the docs and in the core ethos of Rocket Pool, the backbone of Rocket Pool are the node operators. A lot of some of the things that we have, like with the deposit pool being full, is because we can't onboard node operators quickly enough. As everyone knows, we're not Lido. We can't just throw our ETH at a permission set of node operators and just scale that way. That's not. Don't need to get into why. It's complicated. Security, uptime, maintenance, like those are kind of the basics. But I'm sure there's a lot of node operators in the room. What else is involved? It's stress. It's money. It's all the things that are challenges. When we look at other protocols, there's one thing that Rocket Pool looks really good up there, but the one thing in common that the others don't have, save for one, is permissionless nodes. Just want to draw attention to that is our biggest strength. Obviously, all those green check marks, but it makes it a challenge. 8 ETH is not easy to come by. The hardware is not easy to come by. The reliable internet power, all those things that were required to be a node operator are difficult. So as we move to Houston, like one of the things, I don't want to, originally just a little bit of inside baseball. Langers was supposed to go first, talk about Houston. We've switched, so I don't want to ruin what he's going to talk about. So I'll kind of breeze through this, but I just want to talk about what Houston will mean to the ecosystem and what it'll mean for us as we deal with other protocols, partners, that kind of thing. So staking on behalf of Node, in short, will help, because a lot of the people that we talk to, especially sort of the industrial scale or whales, for lack of a better term, that are sitting on a lot of ETH, they really love Rocket Pool. They don't necessarily like the volatility of the RPL token. As anybody who's spent any time in trading, there are a lot of people who don't like the volatility of the Rocket Pool token. What this will allow us to do is allow them to do is be a part of Rocket Pool in a more kind of secure, predictable, whatever your word for it is, by being able to just run nodes with ETH. We're not talking about ETH only mini pools quite yet, but because I know that's being proposed, but this at least allows them to have other people can stake RPL on behalf of, they don't have to touch it. It gives more utility to the Rocket Pool token for people who want to use it, who want to stake it instead of just speculate. Yeah, and so for all those reasons, it's exciting. I'll let Langers kind of go into it more. I don't want to step on his toes. With the RPL withdrawal address changes, I've highlighted it in orange, obviously, because it's probably the most important part for me with ecosystem. You can, as I talked about before, people who don't want exposure to RPL, this is really, really important to a lot of the larger scale potential node operators that we deal with. They're waiting for this. We know, we talk to them all the time. So when Houston does come along, whenever it does, I don't know when it is, I'm not going to say. It'll allow for scaling, which is really important. It clears the deposit pool. It creates more ETH, creates liquidity, all those things. So, as I said, yes, it should help mitigate the deposit pool issues and make those integrations a lot easier, more straightforward, when we don't have to talk about, oh, by the way, you're pointing your contract to us, which is then pointing it to a DEX and then back to you, as I said earlier. It's a game changer for integrating with other protocols. A lot of those are impossible without Houston. I think, for instance, what NodeSet is building, they need Houston for their project work. Large-scale node operators are a huge opportunity for us. Yeah. I also won't get into mega pools as well, because Kane's going to talk about that, but it's exciting. Trust me. And then just looking forward to Saturn. These are kind of more or less like wish lists for when, again, ecosystem stuff, when I'm talking to other protocols. Lowering that minimum is critical. We're facing, Lido has for those that don't know, a community staking program that's coming where it looks like they're going to use 4 ETH minimum. There's other protocols that are already going or imminent that use 4 or even less. Obviously, as long as it's safe to the protocol to do it. And then, yeah, further adjusting the bond. I know there's been talk of 4, 1.5, 1.5, or of the like. I'm not technical enough to understand how that all works, but it's exciting when if you can not only lower the barrier to entry, but then scale further once you're part of the protocol. And then the stuff that we don't know yet will be based on how Houston performs and how it actually affects the ecosystem, because we don't know what we don't know, and we're not going to until it goes live. So opportunities to sort of further restaking strategy is kind of the hot button topic, I suppose. I'm not going to weigh in on it. I think it's not really for us on the team to weigh into. There's obviously quite a bit of debate, which is really good. I think it's great that things like Eigenlayer people are excited about. Others are very skeptical about it. What's great is there's a lot of debate, and a lot of these issues are getting brought to the community's attention. And then ultimately, we'll do what the community want, what they demand. So again, as long as it's safe to the protocol. Another kind of exciting thing, native L2 staking of rETH. It's something that we've been talking to a few different protocols that offer that interoperability. Again, it's probably a little too early to really get into, but if you can stake from a wallet, if there's opportunities to natively mint from another chain. Again, I won't get into the technical stuff because I don't really understand it, but it is an exciting opportunity. Better, but why? I personally and some others would like to see that amount maybe be dynamic and scale as as more ETH is deposited. Perhaps that could scale higher. Hopefully, it's a non-issue with Houston, and if not, Saturn. Competition, as I mentioned before, there's going to be a lot of competition, especially on the node operator side, that we need to address. Tokenomics clarity, the only thing that some of these larger protocols dislike more than the RPL token is the uncertainty of the RPL token. So it would be good to, I know there's sort of some proposals out there that look really interesting, and like the discussion with restaking, it's really, really important that the community engage, pick it apart, and kind of come to what's the best that's out there. And then security considerations. So we've had some issues, obviously, in the last couple months with Twitter, which are not good. But it's kind of brought to our attention that besides bounties and besides very, very thorough audits, there are potential opportunities for post-audit security that we've been in discussion with other protocols. We don't have anything to announce yet, but we're kind of working with some pretty interesting options to further secure Rocket Pool, not just at the smart contract level, but across the spectrum, whether that's the website, the Twitter account, things like that. So those are things that we're also working on. And then lastly, just want to say once again, thank you. It's been really good to meet everyone. Everyone's been really, really nice and cool and interesting, and I've had a great time this week. And once again, Pat, thanks. Ken, especially, you're awesome. It's been great to meet you again, and thanks again.